We're back. Tell me why I stopped filming what I spent in a month videos, and these were the most expensive months of my entire life. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I didn't have anyone holding me accountable, but we have so much to talk about. I haven't filmed one of these since April, and it is now September. And I just wanted to say thank you for being patient with me. I really needed some space in order to make some pretty big money moves, which I will talk about in today's video. And I think that I just needed a reset. And I still tracked everything that I spent. I wasn't as meticulous as I normally am. Usually I like double check, triple check, make sure that like every single little transaction is in my Notion template. But over the past couple of months, I've been a little bit looser. And honestly, I've been a little bit looser with my spending as well, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about like where my money mindset is at. I'm gonna give you an update on my investments. I'm gonna give you an update on how purchasing my car went, because I did buy a new car, and that was one of the main reasons why I needed some space to be able to make that like really big purchase without coming on the internet and talking about it. But I'm gonna do that today. I'm gonna give you all of the details. I'm gonna tell you exactly how much money I spent on the new car. And I feel like I can do it now because I'm like looking back, and I'm not like in the process of spending that money. So I'm so excited to catch y'all up on what has been happening. It's been an awesome summer. It's been so much busier than anticipated, but I feel like that happens to me every single summer. And I have made so much progress with my money, like more so in terms of mindset and where I'm at with it, less so in the actual numbers. I mean, I've still been investing, I've still been, making some good progress on my goals, but I've mainly made a lot of progress in my mindset, so I'm excited to catch y'all up on that. I'm also gonna like go back and tell you how much I spent and invested in the months that I took a break from filming these what I spent in a month, so hopefully that like satisfies some curiosity for you, because I did have a couple people comment asking when these were gonna come back, and I have to say that made me so happy because I really do love filming these, and I just like needed a break, and I wasn't sure if anyone was gonna miss them or even notice that they were gone, but it was nice to see that, this is a style of video that you guys enjoy. I've got my iced coffee with milk with 2 pumps of pumpkin syrup. I am so excited for fall. It is currently 30 degrees, which is not the vibe, but I'm hoping that the fall vibes are gonna come soon. So I feel like we just need to like get right into it because we have so much to talk about. So I think the first thing that I want to chat to y'all about is how is my money currently feeling and what is my current mindset? So of course I took a break from filming these videos, and while I was still tracking my money, that really freed up a lot of space for me to think about my money, think about like where I'm at, and in general, I feel really good. I mean, there's like lots of factors as to why I feel really good. My investments have been doing super well because the market has been up, and I know that that's not always gonna be the case, but I filmed my $150,000 invested in the stock market video. I think that was in May. If you missed that one, I will link it if you want to go and check it out. And at the time of filming, my investments are like 165, which I'm so proud of. But again, a lot of that is like market growth, and you have to expect that it's gonna come down, it's gonna go up, go down, whatever. And at its peak a couple weeks ago, I was at like 168, and that's just like money that's invested in the stock market. So I feel very proud, very grateful, and I feel like I'm at a really good place with kind of the money that I've accumulated, and I'm trying to be in this space where I am like okay with spending some money, because like I just turned 31, and like this is it. This is life. Like this is the life that I'm meant to be enjoying, and I just don't want to be obsessed with, just accumulating money and not using it to like build the life that I want. So I think that I've made a lot of progress in terms of being able to spend money without guilt while still, putting money towards investments and things like that. So I just feel a lot more free with my money, and I think I needed that. And I kind of want to like recalibrate a little bit, going into the fall and winter. over the summer I spent a lot. Like, I don't know, we booked some travels and, you know, obviously I bought my car and that was a huge chunk of change. And that was another thing that like really impacted my money mindset was I spent over $30,000 on this new car, and that was the largest purchase I've ever made. And I was so nervous to spend that money. But as soon as I spent that money, it was like life-changing because buying that new car like really increased the quality of my life. And I think when I was thinking about spending that money, I wasn't really thinking about what I was getting in return for that money. I was just thinking about like, I was so scared to let go of it. But I let go of it, and then I got something that has improved my daily quality of life. And so to me, it was so worth it. And that's got me thinking about future purchases like purchasing a home. Now, if you would have asked me like 6 months ago, a year ago, if I was buying a home or planning to buy a home, I would have been like, I don't know. And actually Mac and I, we had a sit down maybe 6 months ago, because that's something that he really wants to work towards. And when we sat down to talk about it, I had a total freak out. Like, I just was not in the space to really be thinking about it. I felt so overwhelmed by thinking about buying a house. This was before I bought the new car. And now I'm just in a completely different space. Like, it is something that we want to work towards. And I've come around to realizing that yes, it's this huge purchase that you're going to spend so much money on, but like you're getting something in return, you know? And there's just places, or there's just things about our place right now that is just not working for us. We don't have air conditioning. We don't have 2 parking spots. We don't have covered parking. We have a lot of construction noise, like, and it has been going on for like years. And there's just things that I'd like to get into our own home. I'd like to have the experience of buying a home, but not anytime soon, like in a couple years. But obviously we have to plan for that in terms of our money and things like that. And so even just thinking about buying a home is like huge progress for me, because I was so scared of that. And I had no commitment to doing that. Like, I just was overwhelmed by the idea. I thought like, you know, how are we ever gonna do that? And now I feel like we could do it. And so I don't know, that's great progress. And so I honestly think that my money mindset has gotten like really strong, like really, really strong over the past couple of months. And I'm glad to report that, you know. Let me know if you'd like me to do like a full video about my money mindset, because it's something I think about all the time. I used to think about money all the time, but now I feel like I think about my money mindset all the time, and I feel like that's a healthier place to be. Okay, I've got my laptop here, and we're gonna go through some past numbers that I would have missed from April through July. Now, I was looking, and I don't know if I tracked April. Like, in my Notion, I just like don't have a tab for April. So maybe when I decided to take a break, I think I might have given myself a break from actually tracking. And that's wild to me, because I have been tracking every single dollar that I have spent since 2021. So I took a month off, and you go, girl. I'm really glad that I did that. So I have no idea how much I spent in April. I could probably go back in and see how much I invested, but we're just gonna go with April was a month off, okay? Like, I had the month off, and we love that for me. So then going into May. Now, I will say, when I'm telling you what I spent from May until July, I wasn't meticulous with tracking, like I mentioned, and so I cannot guarantee that these numbers include every single thing that I spent. When I look at this, I think that I must have left some things off, because it's lower than I believe that I spent. Because like I said, these past couple of months have been like the most expensive months of my life, mainly because of buying the new car and then also booking some travel. But I do think there's some transactions missing here, so just take it with a grain of salt. But I just wanted to tell you guys, like, you know, what my spending was like, what my investments were like. So anyways, we get it. So in May, I spent $3,178-ish, and I invested $2,000. So pretty good. If that's all I spent, that would be like amazing, but it was probably a little bit more than that. In June, I spent, well, here's where it gets tricky. In June is when I bought my new car. So in June, I spent $4,294. That's without the new car. My new car came to just over $33,000 with all in. I bought a 2019 Hyundai Kona. I'm obsessed with her. I love her. I documented the whole journey too, and I filmed it for YouTube. So if you want to see that like whole process, and if you want to see me freaking out about spending that amount of money and like going to the bank and getting my bank draft, I will link that video down below as well. But this total is without the $33,000. And the reason why I didn't include it was because like that just would be, it just, even though that's technically what I spent, it's so, like I was saving up for that new car for so many years. Like I used an investment account that I started when I was like 16. And so it just like didn't feel right to be like, oh, I spent like $38,000 in that month, even though like I technically did. So I don't know. You can disagree with me of how I did that, but whatever. Something that was great in June is that I had $40,000 set aside for this new car. Again, I had this one investment account that I'd had since I was 16. I also put some inheritance money in there when my grandpa passed away, like many, many years ago. And I had $40,000 set aside for this new car. So when I ended up spending just over 33, I had a lot of money left over that I was like, I'm putting that straight into investments. And so I actually had like a really amazing investments month. So in June, I invested $6,000. So I was able to buy a new car and I was able to invest $6,000. So that would have been like probably about $2,000 of like my regular investments, and then about like $4,000 from this like new car fund. And then I also put away around $2,000 into a sinking fund for when my insurance is due in November, because my insurance is going up from my previous car and I just wanted to be prepared for it. So that was a sleigh. So honestly, June, very expensive, but we did good. And I decided, you know, I bought this new car and I could have used that money to, I don't know, do God knows what, but I was like, nope. You know, I was so nervous to let go of that money, but then I was like, I've got this little chunk left over to put into investment, so I'm good. So I felt amazing, and that was a very successful month. In July, I spent $3,443 and I invested $5,585. Again, I think some of this money was kind of like that leftover that I had. So I was able to invest so much because I had this big account that I liquidated and like put in. So I felt pretty great about, you know, how much I was able to invest between May and July. I fully maxed out my FHSA, so the first time homebuyers savings account, I think is what it's called. So I have contributed $6,000, which is the max because it started last year and you have $8,000 of room per year. So I have that fully maxed out, which is awesome because we're making steps towards buying a house. And then I will be maxing out my TFSA in the coming weeks. So at the end of September, I need to stop my auto investments over to my TFSA because it will be fully maxed. And then I will like switch those auto transfers to go into my RRSP. I still have some room in my RRSP. It would be absolutely incredible if I could max out my RRSP by the end of the year. I just don't know if I'll be able to because I have quite a bit of room. So we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, so that's kind of like the synopsis of what I spent and what I invested. I feel good about those numbers. Like, how could I not be proud if I was able to, you know, between June and July, I invested like nearly $12,000. And so like, I feel great. I feel great. I feel proud. I'm glad that I took some time off of here or like filming these videos. Or not so much filming these videos, more so like I would do these recaps and put them on Reels and TikTok. And it's just very vulnerable to give your numbers out and to kind of be giving them out without like context. Like people don't know what you do. They don't know that I have 2 jobs, okay? You know, like I've got my full-time job, which I work very hard at and I've worked hard at for years to get to the position that I am. And then I also have like this whole other job. And anyways, people just like, it lacks context. So anyways, so let's get into August now. I'm going to tell you what I spent, what I invested. We'll go through my category totals and then I'll go through and call out any like unique transactions. So let's get into it. I will say my August numbers scare me a little bit. Like, I don't know how I ended up spending this much in August. There's a couple things. I booked like 2 trips. I was away for a little bit and I just was a little bit loose with my money. It was my birthday month and I was like treating myself a little bit, maybe a bit too much, but it happened. And so I'm gonna take you through it. So in total, in August, I spent $5,080. I think that's the highest for the whole year. I think that that's the most I've spent all year. I mean, except for the June because of the car thing, but we've been over that a million times. I don't need to keep talking about that. So it was definitely an expensive month. I invested $1,600, which is lower than I would like, but that's totally fine because again, I invested so much earlier. And in August, I checked in on my accounts and I realized that I had maxed out my FHSA and I was close to maxing out my TFSA. So I like intentionally chose to not really put any extra investments in. And I started building up some sinking funds instead. I started putting away some money for a trip that we're going on next year, which I will tell you about. And I just was like, I feel good with where I'm at with my investments for the year. So I kind of just like chilled a little bit and I guess I spent more. I guess I didn't invest, but I spent that money, but it's fine. It's fine. So let's go through the category totals. So I put these in order of like most expensive to least expensive. So usually home is at the top with my rent, but in August, the top was travel at $1,215. So we'll get into that. Home was $1,043. Transportation was $417. Beauty $410. Health $398. Groceries $385. Restaurants and takeout $350. Clothes $342. Gifts and charity $278. Subscriptions $126. Coffee $96, and entertainment $20. So a lot of those totals are higher than usual, but it's fine. I'm just not gonna beat myself up about it. I'm not gonna explain every little transaction. I mean, this is what these videos are for, is for me to kind of ramble and take you through my thought process. Like, it's not really about the numbers, it's more so like the thought process behind them, in my opinion. So let's just go through and see what we're working with. Okay, so let's go on travel. I'm gonna go on the travel tab first. So the exciting thing is that Mac and I are going to Hawaii in February of next year. And what's incredible is that Mac actually gifted me flights to Hawaii. He found a flight deal, and for my birthday, he bought us flights. So that's really incredible. And he also rented us a car, so that's awesome. But then we had to look into accommodation. So the big one was accommodation for Hawaii, and this is actually half of the payment. So on Airbnb, you can do like pay half now and half later with like no extra fees or anything. So we booked our accommodation. We're going for a week. We're going to Maui, and it's just really expensive to vacation there. I'm happy with what we were able to find, but the total amount for the accommodation is about $3,000, like just over $3,000. So we paid for half of it now, and we'll pay the other half in January. And so that came out to $752. So that was like the big one. And then I decided to go on a last minute trip to Victoria, which is where my parents live, for my birthday in August, and my flights cost me $420. Usually I can get them for cheaper, but I was doing it a little bit last minute. And then I was flying on the day of my birthday, and when I checked in, my seat was like in the back, in the middle, and I said, no, not on my birthday. So I paid $40 for like a seat upgrade so I could like choose where I wanted to be. So that was travel, and that's why it was so expensive. It's fine. I'm so excited for Hawaii. I'm probably gonna do like a what I spent on a week trip in Maui, because I think it's gonna be insane, and I feel like it would just make for good content. So I don't know, we'll see. For home, it was just over $1,000. Pretty standard. Our rent did go up starting in September, and so I can't even remember. It's still really reasonable. I think it's $1,675. So anyways, that was our home budget. So nothing really out of the ordinary. I did like a couple of like home upgrades. I got some stuff from like Marshalls, from Etsy, but like nothing crazy. And then let's look at transportation, because that feels like that's very high. And I think that that's because with the new car, I had to get a new registration. And then it was weird. I got a text saying I bought a new registration with my new car. And then I got a text saying that my registration was expiring. So then I like purchased it again, but then they phoned me and they were like, yeah, no, you're good. And I think it was just because of the new car, there was like some mix up. So they were like, we can refund you, or you can just pay for your registration for next year. So I said, I'll just pay for it for next year. So now I don't have to pay for a registration for like 2 years. I also had to get a new license. So that cost me $100. I also took 2 Ubers to the airport when I was going to Victoria, and that was like $50 each. And so that just adds up. I filled up gas maybe twice. I've been driving a lot more because I like driving in my new car. So that's just why it was a little bit more expensive, and it's all good. Let's look at beauty. Beauty, I got Botox for the first time in over a year. And then I also got a manicure and pedicure before my trip, I think. So like the mani-pedi was $141 and my Botox was $217. So that's why my beauty was higher than normal. But I went a whole year without Botox, so we're Gucci there. I also usually get a manicure, but I usually don't do a pedicure. I probably haven't had a pedicure in like a year, so that was fine too. Health was almost 400, which, what was this? What was going on there? Oh, I got an IUD, and so I paid, like my insurance paid for most of it, but I had to pay $85. I got some like oral care stuff, $50. I got some acne medication, $83. I got a couple things from Sephora, $80. So why am I putting that in health? Oh, I guess, I don't know. I guess I'm categorizing my skin as health, which fair. And then I also had to pay a fee because my credit card expired and the gym couldn't put the payment through and whatever. So I had like a fee that I had to pay on top of some other stuff, and it was like $63. I don't know. Groceries, $3.85. That's like very normal, you know, like that's actually pretty low. I think it's because I was traveling a little bit, so that was great. Restaurants and takeout, $3.50 is like a little bit higher than normal. So let me just see here. The most expensive thing was Mac and I went for dinner at Native Tongues one night, and my half was $80. That's like the most expensive meal that we had. And then I just like went out to eat a handful more times. Like one time I went to like a wine bar, and that was $56. I went to brunch, that was $48. I got sushi delivered, $30. So it was just like a handful of eating out, and it was fine. I think I got skip 3 times, which is like, I guess more than normal, but whatevs. Clothes, $342. I've been buying some clothes. Literally Aritzia. I kind of just have been stocking up on some basics. Like this shirt is one of them, and I bought this shirt in like 3 colors, and then I bought this shirt in a t-shirt version in like 4 colors. So that's kind of what I've been doing, is just getting some fall stuff. Gifts and charity, $278. This is like kind of high as well. Oh, I planned a baby shower for my friend, and I took care of the drinks. And so I put my Costco run of $110 in gifts. Oh, and then I got some liquor too, $50 for that baby shower. So that was kind of why I had some extra expenses, was I put like the stuff that I was paying for to plan the baby shower in this category. So that was worth it. Subscriptions, $126 is like normal. Coffee, $96 is great. Less than $100 a month is like a-okay by me. And honestly, when I look at my coffee, it's like I reloaded my Starbucks card once with $25, and then the rest was like normal stuff. And I also paid for a couple of like friends' coffees in the month, so we're good with that. And then entertainment, $20. That's like so pathetic. Like what was the $20 even? I think it was literally like pencil crayons. Yeah, a book, a little needlepoint craft kit, and pencil crayons. So I need to really up the entertainment budget, because I don't know, I should do things other than small screen, medium screen, big screen. So anyways, that was it. Like there was no real standouts other than like the Hawaii accommodation, the flights to Victoria, some eating out, but again, like, oh, and then yeah, Botox, mani-pedi. I just kind of like did a lot of like treat yourself things in August, and I'm not gonna apologize for that. That's kind of all I have to talk about. Now that I'm back, please let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to include in these videos or not include. I don't know, I won't be offended. I'm really excited to be back on it. And, you know, I'm thinking myself, like, how can I like improve these? What more can I say? And I don't know. If this is the first video of mine that you've stumbled across, please subscribe. We've been growing and we love that for my channel. Obviously, I work like really hard on YouTube and it's a joy to do. So if you haven't subscribed, I would absolutely love to have you. If you are already subscribed, I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.